This next video is a lot more straightforward than the last one. We won't talk about trees and populations that grow and die and all that stuff. And it's something that you may have seen before, but if not, that's fine. So in the past, in the last video, we had two types of answers. We had intervals and we had discrete sets, just a few numbers. Okay. If we have intervals, we like shorthand. Mathematicians, we love our shorthand. So if we have inequalities, we're going to use interval notation, which basically translates all these inequalities to stuff like this. Basically, if there's a less than sign or a greater than sign, it turns into a parenthesis. If there's a greater than or equal to sign or a less than or equal to sign, the equal to part turns it into a bracket. Smallest number on the left, largest number on the bottom, on the right. The bottom, what? So here are a bunch of different examples here. I want to also make note that infinity always has a parenthesis. We can never include infinity. So this doesn't make sense because this would mean that we are greater than or equal to infinity, but infinity is not a real number. Right, so anytime you see an infinity, it'll be attached with a parenthesis, not a bracket. And if we talk about all the numbers, that'll be negative infinity to infinity. All right, so here are some examples. You can look through those some more if you'd like, but we're going to do an example ourselves. Describe with interval notation. So there's two intervals. And just like we have in this example, if we have two intervals, just do each one in interval notation and connect them with a union sign, which kind of looks like just a big U. All right, so let's do that here. This interval right here, smallest number is on the left. So the smallest it can be is 1, comma. Biggest number is on the right. That's a 3. Now we have to decide whether we use parentheses, brackets, or one of each. 1 is included. It's a closed circle, so it's going to be a bracket. And 3 is also included. That's also going to be a closed circle. And now we do the same thing for this part. What's the smallest number in that second one? 5. Add a comma. What's the biggest number? Well, there's an arrow here. So there is no biggest number. This means that this goes on and 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 on. Goes up to infinity. 5 has an open circle. 5 is not included. We use a parenthesis. Infinity is always a parenthesis. Infinity is never included. We end our answer by connecting these with a union sign. That says either the interval on the left or the interval on the right works out. That's going to be our final answer. So go ahead and try it. Use the same idea that we did. Smallest number, then biggest number, and then decide whether parentheses or brackets. Use that same thing. Use the try it now. Try it now. Pause the video. See if you can do it on your own. Start with the interval on the left. We always start with the things on the left. Always start with the smallest numbers. What's the smallest number in this interval? Well, it goes off to infinity. Negative infinity. What's the biggest number in that interval? Negative 2. Negative 2 is included, so we use a bracket. Infinity and negative infinity, they're never included. Poor guys. They just get a parenthesis. The next interval, the smallest number is a negative 1. The biggest number is a 3. 3 is not included, but negative 1 is. Negative 1 has that closed circle. 3 has an open circle. Connect them with the union sign. We've got our answer. That's interval notation. So back here where it said use interval notation, what we could have done for the domain, say 0 up to 50. They're both included. And then 100 up to 1400. Again, they're also both included. Year 0 did make sense. That was 1960. Year 50, that was included. That was 2010. And these were the populations at those years, so they'd be included too. Another way of seeing it is we do have the equals sign part of the inequality. If it were strictly less than, kind of like this, then it'd be a parenthesis. But we had that less than or equals to. Let me know if you have any questions and have a good one.